I would now request and call upon Lieutenant General Shankar Prasad to kindly address us on this momentous occasion. Sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I must thank the organizers for this event to have invited me to speak here. But I'm not too sure whether it was by design or by chance they happened to call me. Perhaps not because of my service in the military, but because of my antiquity. I think the correct start of a seminar like this would need some kind of a historical background, and I don't think anywhere here is better poised for history than I am. Not even one person here is as history conscious as perhaps I am. I joined the military about 65 years ago. Not many of you were born that then. And witnessed the military from 1962 onwards. 62 was a very unique year for India. And that is the year when the Chinese invaded India and gave us a bloody nose. They humiliated our country. At that point in time, the Indian Army, the Indian infantry soldier was equipped with a rifle called .303 bolt action, which is what was used in the Second World War. The equipment that the Indian Army carried at that point in time was the one that was left over after the Burma campaign. Whether it was clothing, whether it was boots, whether it was whatever, helmets, were all of 1944-45 vintage. And since then, if I look back now, I find it impossible to understand and believe where this country is reached today, and what we are talking about is artificial intelligence. I look back sometime at the Chinese operations. What defeated us so badly? There was lack of intelligence, there was lack of decision-making, there were no tools available to make conscious decisions, there were no options available, everything was done in a great hurry, inadequate logistic supplies, logistic support. All of that put together made us suffer a humiliating defeat. When I look at it today, and I retired 23 years ago, and remaining in touch with what happens in the military today, you find that today the decision-making has changed many folds. And I think when we go into the details of each subject, which is perhaps later in the day, when we speak specifically about our particular service and how we are using intelligence today, we'll cover it there. But suffice it for me to say as the first speaker this morning, that today I feel so much more confident that unlike what we were taught in our early stages in the military to study and prepare our minds for a conflict, today a lot of it is available to us by artificial intelligence, which enables us to take good decisions, timely decisions, and gives us many options. I'm a completely non-technical man. Although completely non-technical, but I must dare say that the infantry and the army is the biggest beneficiary and the biggest utilization of artificial intelligence, whether it is to combat terrorism in Kashmir or elsewhere, whether it is to combat Chinese in eastern Ladakh, or whether it is to combat Pakistan in the western borders. The most important thing today that we have is to be able to take more conscious and more informed decisions, which are better for the country, and I think AI is the one which supports it immensely. With these opening remarks, I'll now leave it to the technical people to speak about it, and thank you very much for inviting me to give you a little historical perspective to say from where we were in 1962 till 2025. Just the last word, about 25 years ago, I met a young man in Geneva. And I asked him, what do you do? He was about 30 or 35 years old, an Indian boy. And I asked him, what are you doing? He said, I'm working on artificial intelligence. 35 years ago, I said, what is artificial intelligence? Are you seriously working on something called artificial intelligence? इंटेलिजेंस की तो पूरी यहाँ पर है नहीं, इंटेलिजेंस तो है नहीं, ये आर्टिफिशियल की क्या बात कर रहा हूँ? नहीं, this has got our potential and I'm working on it. I said, good luck to you, but I don't understand what is artificial intelligence. Intelligence is something that I understand, but I can't understand what you're doing. That's where I first heard the word artificial intelligence. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for inviting me here.